the View tab has what we call the Slide Master view. And this is going to be incredibly useful when you're figuring out your consistency. So in terms of your headings, you can look at, so as you can see here, Slide Master is now taken up a tab over here on the top of the ribbon. But one of the interesting things is that we cannot exit this section. Slide Master is now the only thing that we can view until we exit back to our presentation. So anything you do in the Slide Master is actually going to affect your entire presentation. So let's look up here at the very top. Anything you put here is going to be populated on all the other slides. So let's say, for example, I think that for this this theme, a little green dot in the corner, let's make it a slightly lighter green. I think this little green dot is going to be an amazing feature to have. So now every single slide, if we go down through all the layouts, is going to have that. If we exit the Slide Master view and we add a new slide, it's right there. Okay. So let's go back to View, Slide Master. Why is this important? Well, we can set up what colors we want. So if we have a specific type of theme that we're going for, again, remember keeping it to 2 colors, and you can have more shades, but keep it to 2 colors. This is where you want to set that up. Also, a very important one is setting up the font. So you can customize this. A heading font is going to be up at the top here, wherever there's a heading, and the bottom one is going to be wherever there's a body font. Very self-explanatory. So I want to change the top to Verdana Pro, and I want to change the body to Calibri. And what we're going to do is we're going to save that. And now we're going to see it's changed here. If we close out of here, we see this already changed here as well. So that's how you can keep things consistent. Another way to keep things consistent, let's go back to Slide Master, is you can see that these text boxes are kind of in the same place. So if we had to draw a line, let's just draw a line here quickly. If we had to draw a line here, let's make this much thicker. So let's put it right there. So if we had to draw a line, let's put this on the main slide and put it right here. You can see that every single slide starts in that same position. And that's very important. It's a consistency in how your PowerPoint slide is laid out. The other important thing is going to be your background. If you want to have one background that is going to go out throughout all of the different slides, you can set that up here. So it could be a texture or a picture. It could be a gradient. It could be a solid full. I'm just going to leave it as white for now because I think it's not going to be a huge part of this specific demo. But know that you can have one background that populates all the way throughout. Back here in View, the only thing that we need to know about is, in terms of layouts, is in the Slide Master, all of these layouts are accessible to us. We can add more layouts, so insert layout. We can have a completely different Slide Master. So say, for instance, there's 2 themes that we want to mix and match. We can do that here. So how do we access those layouts that we found in the Slide Master? Well, one way is when we insert a new slide, we have these layouts available here. A second way is if we right-click on a slide, we can change the layout from here as well. So I want to add, let's say I want to add a slide that has an image in it, because we're going to add an image. So I changed the layout so we have this click to add text, but we can add anything here. This is kind of a placeholder. It's actually called a placeholder. If we look at this element, and here's a very important tool in PowerPoint, is the selection pane. So if we open that, you can see here, this is called a content placeholder. And this is also a good time to introduce the stack. So in PowerPoint, every element that you add to your slide is going to be put on top of a stack. And that's going to make more sense as we go on. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put heading, and for here, I'm just going to put body so that we know where we are. Right, but I want to add in a image. Right now, this placeholder is being used for text. I could have used it to add a stock image, but we went the other way around. So I added the word body, and I want to add in an image. So just as I said earlier, Insert has all of the tools we need to add things to our presentation. So if we go to Pictures, Stock Images, I highly suggest using stock images from PowerPoint if you don't have access to Adobe Stock or Shutterstock. Another option, another free option I will discuss after I've done this demo on PowerPoint, but there are other options for you if you don't have access to PowerPoint stock. So let's look for a bird, and I like this puffin. So I'm just going to insert. As you can see, this is a massive, massive bird, and Designer has popped up to say, hey, there's other ways of doing this. You don't have to do it this way. Designer's trying to get ahead of us here, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that to the side. This picture is obviously too big. We can resize it, but what I want to actually point out is if you look at the position of this puffin, we actually have stuff at the back here. We have our title, or sorry, our heading, and we have our body text actually behind this. So what we can do is over here on the stack, we can see that this picture 6 is actually right at the top. So there's two ways to fix this situation. One is we can right click, so we can send to back, and that will go right to the back of the stack. So let's do that, and you see it goes right to the back of the stack. Another way is to send backward. That goes down 1. So now we have body. And if we send it back down 1 more, it goes all the way to the bottom. We can also bring it all the way to the front. So this is one way to change the stack. Another way is directly on the selection pane. You can move this up and down by clicking and dragging, or by clicking and using the arrows over here. Right, so actually I'm going to grab Designer one more time because I don't think the way my slide is right now is not really the greatest. Let's go for, I think let's go for this one. I think this is a nice way to do it. So here we actually have a massive heading and a small body, but that's fine. I'm going to make this bigger. This is a very tiny text at the bottom here. It's size 20. We can increase that to size 32, but remember, font consistency. If you're going to make these 32, then all of the body text needs to be 32. I recommend 28 for visibility. 28 will be visible on most screens. So if you're going to have body text, you should have at least 28. If it's not super important, you can go down to 20. But my suggestion is 28. For headings, they could be much bigger. It doesn't really matter as long as they're consistent. But now, because I've changed this in Designer, let's have a look. Is this consistent with that one? So this one is 40 and this one is 54. So you see now Designer has actually created an inconsistency in my slide. So I actually want to change this, but if I change it here, every time I make a new slide that looks like this, I'm going to have to make that change again. So I don't want to do that way. I would rather do it all in the slide master. So here, if we go down, let's have a look. Here we go. So here, this, go to home, Verdana 60. Here we go, Verdana 54. So this slide is actually supposed to be at 40, just like the rest of these. So all of these are 40. Now, if we go back, so we exit the slide master, now it should be fine. So that's one way to deal with inconsistencies that pop up if you're using the Designer now and then and things change. If you click on certain elements in a PowerPoint, you'll notice that an orange tab pops up on your ribbon. And this is because these are tools that are specifically designed for this type of element. So you see in picture format, we actually have some really interesting things like changing the transparency. We can remove the background of the puffin. So if we keep the changes in there, I mean, this looks a little bit messy, but you can actually go in and edit even further to make sure that you have exactly what you want. I don't think this picture is great for this type of thing, but there we go. That looks okay. It's very white. I think it's too bright. I'm just going to change it back to what it was. So yeah, these options come up for the specific element that you're working with. Here you can put in the alt text for people who are differently abled. And again, this one actually gives you the selection pane here as a shortcut, because you're going to be working with the selection pane quite often. Now, your cropping is here. So if you want to, if you noticed when Designer changed this specific picture, it actually took out quite a bit of the picture to make it fit in the space. So it did that by cropping. If you want to go back and uncrop it, you can. Another thing is alignment. So if, for example, you don't want to measure things, there is a way to snap to grid. So if you see here, there's a little guide that's saying this is the exact middle of the screen. But if you don't want to do that individually, you can align left, you can align center, you can align right. So you have alignment tools there. We also have the option of flipping the image. There's more rotation options to get tilts. We can add effects, we can add borders. There's a whole bunch of tools here that you can go through and use to spruce up an image. The main point is that different elements will have additional formatting options. Right, so before we dive deeper into inserting media, I want to just go back to text. So as we can see, Designer has moved this body from the top to the bottom. We'll look at that a little bit later. But so let's just look at the basics of what we can do with text. So here we can see that this is just normal text, it's a normal paragraph, and we can bullet it, we can number it. Actually, with these bullet points and these numbers, we can add some really interesting things. So we can add pictures, such as icons. So let's just open up this window a little bit. Go to icons. Let's pick up birds might be aliens, right? Let's put that in there. So now we have our alien, let's see, body. What do they have? They have wings. They have beaks. There's a puffin, so it's probably got flippers. Right, so we have these alien bullet points, but if we were to make another slide, for example, so let's add a new slide, and we wanted to make bullet points here, you see that they are different. So where can we change that? Again, we go back to our slide master. We look for the specific slide that we are interested in. And I think it was that second slide here. So let's change this. Let's change this to our alien again. So let's go back to icons. And we'll put our alien back in. Right. So now that we've changed it here, if we go back to our slide master, you can see that our alien is back. We don't have to change them every single time. And it becomes a lot clearer how much time saving can happen in the slide master if you have a slide deck of, more than 50 slides. So just keep that in mind, that if there's anything that you want to keep as a consistent, use the slide master. We can change each list item to be something different. So let's say we use numbers, and after numbers, we want to actually go into letters. So we can go into Roman numerals, and after Roman numerals, we want to go into lowercase letters. These can also be set up in the slide master. Let's just finish off with the paragraphing. So here we have paragraph alignment, we can have center, we can have right aligned, we can also have justified. Justified means it tries to fill up the space of the line. We can also choose this to be in 2 columns or 3 columns, depending on if we're going to have multiple lists. We can change the distance between each paragraph. But one of the things that Designer did is put this text down at the bottom. We can actually change that to the middle or the top. So now it's back to normal. If it's at the top, it's back to its normal position. So that is basically all of the paragraph tools. If you do click on this bottom arrow here, there are more options, but we're not going to go into that much detail because it's not necessary. This is more than enough to get you going.